The diner went silent the second the slap echoed. A grown man, red-faced, furious, stood towering over a trembling 8-year-old boy, his cheek bright red, eyes filling with tears. "Teach your brat some manners." The man barked. People froze, forks in midair. No one moved. No one spoke. The waitress gasped and the cook peeked through the order window, stunned. The boy didn't fight back. He just looked down and whispered, "You shouldn't have done that." The man sneered. "Oh yeah, and who's gonna stop me?" Then the front door swung open. A man in a sharp black suit stepped in, followed by 2 others in matching coats. The air changed instantly. He took one look at the boy's face and smiled. Cold. Controlled. Dangerous. "I will," he said, and the entire diner went dead silent. That morning had started perfectly. Little Marcus loved Saturday breakfasts at Vinny's diner, his favorite pancakes, chocolate milk, and his dad promising, "One day, you'll run this place," to anyone else. His father, Mr. Romano, looked like a calm, respectable businessman. He ran the Romano construction company, at least. That's what the paperwork said, in truth. He was the man everyone owed a favor to. He lived quietly now, trying to keep his son away from the darker world he'd built. But bullies, they don't check resumes before they act. And that morning, while Romano stepped outside to take a call, his boy made the mistake of sitting at the wrong booth. That booth belonged to Chuck Dalton, a loud, drunken ex-con who thought the diner was his throne. He came in every weekend, picking fights with anyone who looked different. He had this twisted pride about putting people in their place. So when Marcus accidentally bumped his coffee mug, "Chuck exploded, you little brat," he shouted, slamming his hand on the table. The waitress, terrified, tried to calm him. "Sir, he's just a kid." Chuck cut her off and looked straight into Marcus's eyes. "You think you can get away with anything 'cause you're special, huh?" Marcus barely got out a word before Chuck's palm met his cheek. That's when the whole diner froze. Marcus didn't cry. He just sat there holding his face, staring at the man who hit him. "You shouldn't have done that," he whispered. Chuck laughed, pointing at him. "What are you gonna do, tell your daddy?" From outside, the sound of polished shoes echoed on the tile. The door opened. Mr. Romano walked in, removing his sunglasses. His eyes locked on his son. The entire room felt colder. The waitress whispered, "Sir, it was an accident, but that man—" Romano raised a hand. "I saw." He crouched beside Marcus, gently turning his face to the light. Then he kissed his forehead and stood up. He turned to Chuck, his voice low but steady. "Apologize," Chuck snorted. "To him, you kidding?" Romano's men stepped forward. Chairs scraped, coffee cups rattled, and for the first time, Chuck realized he'd just crossed the wrong man. Romano calmly pulled a chair from a nearby table and sat down across from Chuck. "Do you know who I am?" he asked quietly. Chuck spat on the floor. "Some rich guy playing dress-up?" Romano smiled. "Not exactly," he nodded once. His men closed the blinds, locked the door, and stood behind him. The room grew darker. Only the neon sign from the window flickered across Romano's face. "Let me explain something," he said, voice smooth as silk. "That boy is the only reason I walk this world like a man, not a monster. And you just put your hands on him." Chuck's hands began to shake. "I didn't mean—" Romano leaned forward. "In my world, intentions don't matter. Respect does," he nodded again. The men took Chuck by the arms and escorted him outside, quietly, efficiently, like it had been rehearsed 1,000 times. No one ever saw Chuck Dalton in that diner again. When Romano came back inside, he handed Marcus a napkin and smiled softly. "You okay, champ?" Marcus nodded. "Did you hurt him, Dad?" Romano paused. "No, I just reminded him how to behave." The waitress whispered a thank you as he paid for everyone's meal. No one dared look him in the eye. As they walked out, Marcus held his father's hand tightly. "Dad," he asked, "why do people act mean like that?" Romano looked down at him and said quietly, "Because they've never learned what real power looks like, son. It's not loud. It's silent," the boy smiled. And as the door closed behind them, the diner returned to normal. Except for one thing. Nobody ever disrespected that family again. If you believe true power doesn't need to shout, hit like, drop a comment for Marcus and his dad, and subscribe for more cinematic justice stories where bullies learn the hard way who they're really dealing with.